Hello, it's Echo and welcome to another video. And today I'm going to be doing a human redesign of Applejack from My Little Pony in my style. Now, if you've been around on my channel for a while, you might know that I've done two previous redesigns. I've done Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, but I do plan on honestly unlisting those videos and doing a redesign of those because I'm not happy with how their design is holding up today. And if by the end of this video you like this design, make sure you leave a like and let me know what you think in the comments. Now let's talk a little bit about my design process. Applejack is described as hardworking and diligent, and she prefers to do things the hard way rather than the more conventional way by using her magic. And yes, I added a lasso to this drawing, but I know she's not a rancher or anything like that. Obviously she works on an apple orchard, but I just thought the lasso looked good because I found this pose on Pinterest and it was just perfect. I had to use it. The more I was working on this character, the more strongly I seemed to get a grasp on her character design and what I wanted her character to feel like as a human. One of the original inspirations for Applejack was Dolly Parton, and I really think I accidentally leaned into that quite a bit, and you'll see that come through later with the coloring process. At some point during the sketch process, I had to move the drawing from one canvas over to a bigger one because I was running out of room with her legs. I accidentally ended up making her very short, so I needed to elongate her legs, and that's why I moved her over. I'm going to put in some pictures of some sketching and ideas that I did in my sketchbook for what I wanted her hair and outfit to look like, and I think I stayed pretty true to my original concepts. I know a lot of people do their human redesigns of the main six to look pretty young, but I wanted Applejack to feel a bit more mature, or maybe just kind of like she's been out in the sun a lot, so she's gonna have some more visible lines and stuff like that. I'm not sure how everybody else will feel about that design choice, but you know, if you have any words about that, leave a comment. Of course, I had to include her cutie mark, and I'm not sure I did that for my other two designs, which is also another big reason why I want to go and redo them, but I included these little apple patches on the bottom of her jeans. This is where I swap over the canvas, so that's why the background color changed a little bit and like the aspect ratio, so sorry if that's a little bit jarring. But now I'm going in with the liner. I've really been loving doing line art lately. I downloaded this new brush pack. It's called like Ginseng sketch brushes or something like that. I've really been loving all of the brushes in that pack. And instead of using a braid brush for her hair, I decided to just wing it, and I think that was a good choice because it made the braid look very kind of messy, and I feel like it looks like a cross between a braid and a twist, and I really like how that came out. I did end up downloading another brush to do the rope just because I was lazy and I didn't want to draw all of those little things by hand, so I just got a brush for that, and it worked really well. I struggled with the hand on the right quite a bit just because the angle was something I had never drawn before, and I was feeling it was looking a little bit stiff and unnatural, so you can see me messing around with that a little bit throughout the process. The tassels on the bottom of her pants were also giving me a little bit of trouble, but I feel like they really come together when I start rendering and stuff like that. Since they look a bit stiff right now, I try to give them some more motion when I go in and do the rendering. Same thing with the boots. The boots are very like basic and very boring, but I do end up fixing those, don't worry. Now we're on to the best part of this entire process, which is the coloring. I had so much fun coloring this piece. I knew I wanted all of the colors to be very bright and very saturated, so that's exactly what I did. I did not color pick from her pony design exactly because I feel like every time I color pick, the colors always come out looking a little bit dull, so I just bumped the saturation up on a lot of the stuff. Like her shirt is actually like her skin color, her coat color in the show, and I also took the red from her cutie mark and put that on this little bow thing that goes around her neck, and I also use the same red on her apples on her pants and her nails. Same thing with her braid. I color picked that, but then I also made it a bit more on the natural looking side because in the show her braid is a little bit more of a vibrant, like unrealistic hair color yellow. So I just wanted to tone that down for my design and make it look a bit more lifelike. With the blushing and shading, I wanted her face to look like she had been out in the sun, so I had gave her some freckles and also two distinct moles. And I also made it look like she had maybe a bit of a sunburn, like across her cheeks and on her nose. I overlaid this jean texture on top of her pants, and I also overlaid a cloth texture for the shirt just so they don't look so flat, and it's a lot less work for me to have to render all of these little details. So this is just way easier, and it gives it a really nice and textured effect. I wanted to zoom in on the belts here because I had so much fun doing them. I found some references on Pinterest and then I just started rendering them. I wanted them to be very like in your face, very flashy, like typical Western belts. I feel like that's a really big part of the fashion slash culture. So I really knew that I wanted to incorporate those into her design. I spent a lot of time just rendering the clothes. I wanted to make sure all of the folds and stuff look realistic and not so stiff and unnatural. So I spent a lot of time going and adding shadows and adding highlights and yada yada, you know. And I also wanted to add some more depth to the jeans. I suck at drawing shoes and especially boots, so please ignore if these are not like perfectly correct. I really tried my best and I think this was good practice for drawing shoes. Normally I just put all of my characters in flats, like ballet flats or something like that, or Mary Jane's, because I feel like those are a lot easier to draw. But I had a lot of fun rendering these boots and adding like the dust and the dirt and the mud onto them in a bit. Here is where I also go in and render those tassels on her jeans, and I feel like they turned out so good. I'm so happy with how I did them. Like the different shades of brown really give them a lot of movement and detail, even though I really didn't detail them all that much. But yeah, now we're gonna move on to the hat, which I have sitting on the fence post, and oh my god, this hat was so annoying. I never draw hats, and specifically this angle was really challenging, so I end up just bringing in a photo and overlaying it and then just like rendering over the photo. Like that's how bad it was. Okay, it was really bad and I was so stuck, so that was my only option. Okay, I hope you can forgive me. After like an hour of failing with the stupid hat, here's when I bring in the picture and I just render over the picture, and I feel like that looks so much better than whatever I had going on before. I had a lot of fun with doing the wood texture for the fence and also the background, which I'm about to start on in just a second. I do end up using some brushes that I actually used in my last video, which are all like plant slash foliage brushes, and they just really help the process along so much because drawing grass and like little plants individually is kind of a pain. So here I am adding the dirt, and originally the colors here are looking very desaturated. I don't know what I was really thinking with that, but I do end up going and brightening them later, so don't worry. I also hand drew the clouds, added a little bit of purple slash pink into the clouds, and I think that really pops. Added some sunny highlights, and we are done. Let's look at the finished drawing. This is how the final drawing turned out. I am so proud of it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too, and I also hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!